Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss sum of tensors, product of two tensors, and then some examples. Now sum of tensors. Suppose that we have two tensors T and S, and we have an arbitrary vector A. Then sum of these two tensors will be defined by this equation 2b4.1, that T plus S will act on A and gives us T of A plus S of A. Now we will have to show that T plus S is a tensor. Now with the help of this definition, you people will show that this sum T plus S or S plus T will satisfy the properties of linearity, two properties which you have already studied when we have started the linear transformation. So you need to check those two properties for this sum. So as we are saying that this sum is a tensor, so this sum must satisfy those properties. You have to confirm this thing. Here it is also written that T plus S is indeed a tensor. Is indeed a tensor. You need to show this. Now if this is a tensor, then how can we write its components? Suppose that W is equal to T plus S, sum of two S plus S and T. We are denoting this sum by W. Now we want to write the components of this tensor. So by definition, as you know that if T is a tensor, then components of this tensor T can be written as Tij equals to Ei dot Tej. This is from the section in which we have components of a tensor, and that equation is 2b2.2. You can see from there that Tij, components of tensor T, Tij is given as Ei dot Tej. T11, T12, T13, then you will have 9 components from that equation. Now similarly, on that way we can write the components of W. Suppose instead of T we have W, so it would be Wij equals to Ei dot Wej. Wij will be equal to Ei dot Wej. No, we will use T plus S instead of W, as we have denoted 2b4.2a in equation 2b4.2a, that W is equal to T plus S. Now we will use T plus S at the place of W. So we will have Wij equals to Ei dot T plus S Ej. Now here we will use the definition of this sum, which is given 2b4.1. So we can write Ei dot inside the bracket Tej plus Sej. Ei dot bracket Tej plus Sej. Here I am using the definition of the sum of tensor. Now I can write ei dot tej plus ei dot sej. Again, by using the definition of the components of tensor, this thing would be equal to Tij and this thing would be equal to Sij. So 2b4.2b is giving us the components of the tensor W, which is basically the sum of two tensors S and T. So Wij equals to Tij plus Sij, and this is the matrix form, matrix notation for the components. For the whole matrix, you can write matrix of W equals to sum of matrices of T and tensor S. Now this equation 2b4.2b is telling us that W11 will be equal to T11 plus S11, W12 will be equal to T12 plus S12. That you can have the components of W by simply adding the corresponding components of S and T, as we do in the matrices. To add the matrices, what we do, we simply add the corresponding entries of matrices and we have the resultant matrix. So sum is the tensor, sum of any two tensor is a tensor, and their components can be written in this way: Wij equals to Tij plus Sij. Now let us move to the product of two tensors. We have seen that sum is a tensor and we have seen that how can we write its components. Now we will see that how we will define product of two tensor and how the product is a tensor and how we can write the components of that product. Suppose that T and S are two tensors and A is an arbitrary vector. Then the product Ts and St are defined to be the transformation given by these equations 2b5.1 and 2b5.2. That if you have T of S, then this product will act as at A, it will give you T of Sa, and if it Sta, it will give you Sa Ta. Now this product St or Ts, this is a tensor. So you need only to show the sum of you need only to show that this product will satisfy the basic two properties of linearity. This thing you have to check. Now we will find the components of this product, either Ts or St. I am going to find here components of Ts. You must find components of St. Now Ts. In similar fashion, you can define W is equal to Ts, then using the basic definition of the components, that how can we write the components of tensor, you will start. Again Tij, the definition of the components, that how can we write the components of tensor. Tij equals to Ei dot Tej. Now here we have product of T and S, so instead of single T we will write Ts. So Ts and this bracket Ts bracket Ij, that we are going to write the ijth component of this product Ts. This would be equal to, by definition, Ei dot Tsej. That definition is saying that we are taking the dot product of this Ei with the resultant of this product when it acts on Ej. So Ei dot Tsej, that this product Ts is acting on Ej. Now here we will use the definition of the product, that how we have defined the product transformation, product of two transformation T and S. It will give us EI dot T of SEJ here. Here we have A and here we have EJ. So we have only T SEJ. Now what we have done here, we have written the components of this. We have written SEJ in this form, EI dot T as it is, and SEJ equals to SMJ EM. No, this is from your equation number 2B 2.1b in section 2B2, that where you can see that TEI equals to TJIEJ. So here we have S instead of T. We are using equation 2B2.1b and J instead of I. So SEJ will be equal to SMJEM, and we are using M instead of I in equation 2B2.1b. So it means that instead SEJ will be replaced with the help of 2B2.1b in this way, SMJEM. Now we can see that we have EI, T, S and E. Here SMJ basically are the components, are simple scalars, S11, S12, S13, like this. So we can write this from here, outside from this, that we can write SMJ here, and we are left with only EI dot TEM. The T is a tensor and you can use the linearity. So it would be SMJ EI dot TEM. No, EI dot TEM is SMJ. TIM. No, EI dot TEM equals to TIM. Definition of components, that how you can write the components of tensor. Now we have this thing, TIM SMJ. So it means that components of TS equals to the TIM SMJ. Similarly, components of STIJ equals to SIM TMJ. Note one thing. TSIJ, I is the first index of TS and J is the second index subscript of TS. And on right hand side, first index of T is I and second index of this S is J, and dummy will be the second index of T and first index of S. Now it means that if in the product T, if we have the product TS, then the component will be written in the way that on the right hand side, in first index of T will be I and second index of S will be J, and M, the dummy index, will be the first index of S and the second index of T. Similarly, if you have product ST IJ, then first index of S must be I and second index of T must be J, and M will be the first index of T and will be the second index of S, and X as dummy index. So you need to keep this in your mind, the way we are writing the indices. If you write this thing as TIM SGM, then this thing will be wrong. So it means that we can get first component 1 will be equal to T1M SM1. Now you will have to open the summation on M. Then you will get the first component, the product. Similarly, second, third, fourth, and ninth, up to ninth component of product TS or ST. Now 2B 5.5 and 5.6 are the matrix form. These are the matrix form of these 2B 5.3 and 2B 5.4 equations. Like in sum, these are the matrix form. Now further it is written that TS is not commutative, that it cannot be equal to ST in general. In general, TS cannot be equal to ST. Like matrices AB cannot be equal to BA in general. So the product does not follow the commutative law. Now let's see what happens when we have three transformations, and we will see the associativity. We have three, T, S and V. We will write this T, S, V in bracket, then this product of 2 with third will act on A and gives us, this is by definition of this thing 2B 5.1. you can see that you can have that instead of S we have SV. So we will write this thing as T of SV at A. Again we are using the definition of the product inside SV at A. It can be written as S of V of A. S of V of A. And if we have this T of SVA, then it would be equal to T of S of VA. You can use one or two more steps before this. Like here, that T bracket SV whole bracket outside A, that you can write TS bracket V then whole bracket A will be equal to, first use the definition, T of S of VA. T of S and VA. Then again you can use this step after that first step, that you will take TS as one and V another. So TS at VA using the definition of this thing. Then you will use as T of S of VA, using VA is another vector, VVA will be another vector, and you have TS will act on VA and will give you T of SVA. So you need to write at least one step before this, which will be similar as this. Here we have written T outside SV combine, and here you will write TS combine and V outside whole bracket outside A. But you can see that this thing is same as this thing. So it means that T of SV will be equal to TSV. So this satisfies the associative law. So with the help of this we can define the integral positive power of transformation, that if you have T cube then it will be TTT, and if you have T square it will be TT, and if you have T4 it will be TTT, and up to so on. Integral positive power of transformation you can define with the help of this. Wait for 1 minute. Sorry, I have to connect the laptop with charger. Now the example. In this example we will discuss the product of two tensors. Suppose that let R correspond to a 90-degree right-handed rigid body rotation about x3 axis. Find the matrix of R. Now this is the example 2b 2.3. In 2b 2.3 it is written that the R corresponds to a right hand rotation of rigid body about x3 axis by an angle theta. Find the matrix of R. Here we have 90 degree instead of theta. Now how we will write the right handed rotation about x3 axis? Now we have three axes, x1, x2 and x3 axis. Now for right handed, x1 axis and x2 axis is in upper side, and if it is left side then it will be downside. It will be directed downward. For right handed rotation, x2 is directed for right hand and x2 is directed in upward direction, and for left hand it is directed downward direction. So for right hand we will have counterclockwise rotation and left hand clockwise rotation. Now as we have right handed rotation and it is about x3 axis, so it means that x1 is along right side and x2 is in upward direction, and x3 axis, obviously these three axes are perpendicular to each other, and x3 axis, if we write this thing on paper, then x3 will be pointing outside. And we have rotation about x3 axis, so x3 axis will not change, it will remain unchanged. Suppose that we have angle theta as in example 2b 2.3. So we need RE1, RE2, RE3 to write the matrix of R, that how this transformation R will change E1, E2 and E3. No, in general RE1 will be equal to E1 into cosine of angle between E1 dash and E1. That along x1 axis you have E1, along x2 axis you have E2, and after rotation about an angle about x3 axis with an angle theta, we have E1 dash and E2 dash. So angle between E1 dash and E1 is theta, and between E2 and E2 dash is theta. So RE1 is equal to E1 cosine of angle between E1 dash and E1 plus cosine of E2 cosine of angle between E1 dash and E2. plus E3 cosine of angle between E1 dash and E3. Now as angle is theta, so RE1 will be equal to cosine of angle between E1 dash and E1 is theta. So RE1 will be equal to cosine theta E1 plus E2, and with E2 we have coefficient cosine of angle between E1 prime and E2. This is basically cosine of 90 minus theta. This is cosine of 90 minus theta. That when you will draw this thing on your paper, then you can see that the angle between E1 dash and E1 dash and E2 is 90 minus theta. So cosine of angle between 90 minus cosine of angle 90 minus theta. So this cosine of 90 minus theta is a sine theta basically. So you have RE1 equals to E1 cosine theta plus E2 sine theta plus E3. E3 with the coefficient cosine of angle between E1 dash and E3. Well, this is 90. Why it is 90? Because E3 and E3 dash are parallel to each other. So cosine of angle between E1 dash and E3 is the same as the cosine of angle between E1 dash and E3 dash. And this is 90. So cosine 90 is 0. So we have RE1 cosine equals to cosine of theta E1 plus sine of theta E2. This is written in the example 2b 2.3. Now RE2. Now RE2 is equal to E1 cosine of angle between E2 dash and E1 plus, now what is this cosine of angle between E2 dash and E1? This is cosine of 90 plus theta. This will give you minus sine theta. As it is written in the example, the first term is of RE2 equals to minus sine theta E1 plus E2 cosine of angle between E2 dash and E2, it is theta, so it would be cosine of theta, and plus E3 cosine of angle between E2 dash and E3, this is again 90, so cosine 90 is 0. So we have RE2 equals to minus sine theta E1 plus cosine theta E2. And as we are taking the rotation about x3 axis, so it is fixed, so RE3 is equal to E3, it will not change, it will remain E3. So now you can write your matrix R, which is in the equation in the example 2b 2.3. R is cosine theta sine theta 0 first column, second column minus sine theta cosine theta 0, and third column 0 0 1. Now if you will use theta is equal to 90, then you will have this matrix 0 0 minus 1 and plus 1. This is A part. For B part, you have to take the x1 axis as the axis about which you will take the rotation. The x1 axis will remain fixed, and you will write this way. SE1 will not change E1, and SE2 will be equal to E3, and SE3 is minus E2. Now first you will have to write the rotation matrix when you are taking the rotation about x1 axis, right-handed rotation with the angle theta, as I have explained for angle theta about x3 axis. Then you will use theta is equal to 90, and you will have this matrix S. This you will have to do by your own self. In part C, find the matrix of tensor T that correspond to the rotation A, then B. In C we have product of rotations, product of tensors. But keep in mind that it is saying that matrix of that tensor in which we are taking rotation A first, then B. First, then B. Rotation A, then rotation B. So first we have, it would be like this. R first, then A, then sorry S. So it would be SR. So we have to find the matrix SR. So this is S and this is R. So this is SR. In D you will have first use B then A. So S first, R second. First you will apply S and then R. So product will be RS and this is RS. And in E part, consider a point P whose initial conditions are this, initial coordinates are this, find the new position of this point after the rotation of part C, also find the new position of the rotation of D. So we need to use the tensor given in C and D to find the new coordinates of the given. Suppose R is this initial position of the point P, which is 110, and R static after the application of part C tensor. This SR, which is given here, we have this R static minus E1 plus E3, and this is when we use the part D. Oh, thank you so much.